kicked him out.
I didn't know.
You kicked over his water.
David, I swear I didn't realize.
You called him trash.
Please, darling, I'm sorry. I didn't know who he was.
And if he wasn't my father, if he really was just an old man asking for water, that would have made it okay? You had 7 years to help them. 7 years to bring them into our home. But you chose not to.
I was scared.
We're all scared. But most people don't throw their own parents away like garbage.
She kicked over his water and called him trash. Then her husband knelt at his feet and called him Dad.
Bye.
Sandra hadn't always been cruel.
How am I today?
There was a time, years ago,
good, madam.
when
God
she
bless
smiled
you.
at strangers, when she helped her mother carry groceries up 3 flights of stairs in their cramped apartment, when she dreamed small dreams. A wedding in a church, a husband who worked hard, maybe 2 kids, and a yard with flowers. But that was before she met David, before the mansion with 12 bedrooms, before the marble floors and the fountain in the driveway.
Before she learned that money could erase the smell of poverty from your skin. Now, at 34, Sandra stood at the top of her world. Her heels clicked on Italian tile. Her perfume cost more than most people made in a week. And when she looked in the mirror, she saw exactly what she wanted, a woman who would never go back. She had buried the girl she used to be, and she planned to keep her buried. It was a Tuesday afternoon when everything unraveled. Sandra was in the sunroom, sipping iced tea and scrolling through photos of other rich wives on her phone. Outside, the estate stretched wide and perfect green lawns, trimmed hedges, a gate so tall it felt like a fortress. That's when she saw him. A man, old, dirty, sitting right outside the front gate. Her stomach turned. He was hunched over, leaning against the iron bars. His clothes were torn and stained. His face was weathered, lined with age and sun. His hands shook as he tried to drink from a dented metal cup. Sandra's lips curled. She stormed outside, her heels stabbing the stone walkway. The guards stood stiff by the gate, looking uncomfortable. Sandra's voice was sharp.
What is this?
Man, ask for water.
Water? You think we run a charity? Get him out!
Please, ma'am, just a little water. I've been walking all day.
I don't care if you've been walking all year. This is private property. You don't belong here.
She stepped closer. The old man flinched. And then she did it. She kicked the cup. Water splashed across the pavement. The cup clattered and rolled into the gutter. The old man stared at the spill.
Now get him out of my sight. And if I see him here again, you're all fired.
That's when Samuel appeared. The new gardener, a quiet man in his 50s with kind eyes and calloused hands, had been trimming the hedges nearby. He saw everything. Without a word, Samuel dropped his tools and jogged over. He knelt beside the old man and helped him to his feet.
Sir, are you okay?
Samuel's voice was soft, steady. The old man nodded, but his hands were still shaking. Sandra's eyes went wide.
What do you think you're doing?
Samuel didn't look at her. He picked up the dented cup, wiped it on his shirt, and walked to the outdoor faucet.
He filled it with fresh water and handed it back to the old man.
Drink slowly.
Are you deaf? I said get him out!
Samuel finally turned to her.
I don't
His
pay you to have
expression was
opinions. You're
calm
fired.
but firm.
I don't pay you to have opinions. You're fired. Did you hear me? You're fired. Pack your things and get out. Now!
Samuel didn't move.
I said you are fired. Leave.
No, ma'am.
Samuel crossed his arms. The guards shifted nervously.
How dare you?
The roar of an engine cut her off. A sleek black car pulled into the driveway. The tires crunched on gravel. The door opened. David stepped out. David was tall, clean-cut, and sharp in his tailored suit. At 42, he'd built an empire from nothing. Real estate deals, luxury developments, buildings that touched the sky. But right now, he looked confused. His eyes swept over the scene, his wife red-faced and furious, the gardener standing protectively in front of an old man, the guards frozen like statues.
What's going on?
This gardener brought a beggar onto our property. I think he was trying to help him steal from us.
Steal what?
That's why I fired him. We can't have people like this around.
David's gaze shifted to Samuel, then to the old man. And that's when everything stopped.
Dad?
David's face went pale. His briefcase slipped from his hand and hit the ground with a heavy thud.
What? What?
David didn't answer. He moved past her like she wasn't even there. His legs carried him forward, faster.
Faster, until he was running. He reached the old man and threw his arms around him.
Dad. Oh my God.
The old man, Papa John, closed his eyes and hugged his son back. Tears streaked down his dirty cheeks. Sandra stood frozen. Her mouth hung open. David pulled back, holding his father's shoulders. David laughed through his tears. Then his expression darkened. He turned slowly toward Sandra.
You kicked him out.
I didn't know.
You kicked over his water.
David, I swear I didn't realize.
You called him trash.
Please, darling, I'm sorry. I didn't know who he was.
And if he wasn't my father, if he really was just an old man asking for water, that would have made it okay?
Sandra opened her mouth. Nothing came out.
Look at me when I'm talking to you.
Papa John stepped
How could
forward.
you betray my trust?
His voice was quiet but steady.
David, I didn't just come to visit. I came to warn you.
Warn me? About what?
Papa John glanced at Sandra, then back at his son.
Do you remember when you first met her? You told me she was kind, that she came from nothing, just like us.
Well, she lied.
Oh, no, don't.
Went to the city last month. I wanted to find her parents. I thought maybe we could all have dinner together.
Her parents are dead. She told me they died before we met.
They're not dead, son. They're in a state-run shelter. I found them. They're sick. Her mother has diabetes.
Her father can barely walk. They've been there for years.
That's not true.
Tell me that's not true, Sandra.
David, please.
Tell me it's not true.
Her lips quivered. Tears spilled down her cheeks. But she didn't deny it. And Papa John reached into his coat pocket. He pulled out a folded envelope, worn and creased.
Your mother gave me this. She wanted you to have it.
David took the envelope. His hands shook
How
as
could
he
you
opened
do this
it.
to me, Sandra?
Inside
Is
was
this
a
true?
letter, handwritten. The ink was faded in places.
Smudged by tears, David read it silently. His face changed with every line.
When he finished, he looked up at Sandra. His eyes were hollow.
You told them I wouldn't want them at our wedding because they were too poor.
That's not.
You said if they ever contacted you again, you'd call the police. How could you do this to me, Sandra?
Sandra's knees
After
buckled
everything?
on the
I'm
ground.
so sorry, David.
David's voice
I'm
was
so
barely
sorry. I
above
didn't
a
mean for it to
whisper.
happen like this.
They believed you. They thought I didn't want them there.
Your mother cried the whole time we talked.
She said she understood that you deserve better than them.
I would have welcomed them. I would have taken care of them.
How could you do this?
They were going to ruin everything.
They're your parents.
Exactly. You don't understand what it's like. I came from nothing too. But you're a man. Nobody judges where you came from by your shoes or your accent. My case was different. I spent 20 years scrubbing poverty off my skin. 20 years trying to get that smell out.
Smell?
Yes, the smell of cheap soap and thrift store clothes and food stamps and shame, David, shame. It sticks to you, David. It soaks into your bones. And I finally got clean. I wasn't gonna let them drag that smell back into my life.
The courtyard went silent. David stared at his wife like he was seeing her for the first time.
You're not the woman I married.
I never was. I became whoever you needed me to be. Sweet, humble, grateful. I played that part perfectly. Because I knew if I could make you fall in love with her, I'd never have to go back.
So you used me?
I loved you. But I also loved what you could give me. Safety, status, a life where I didn't have to be afraid anymore.
Love isn't supposed to be a transaction.
I loved you. Everything is a transaction. You married me because I made you feel good about yourself. The rich man who saved the poor girl. It made you feel noble.
She's wrong, son. You didn't marry her to feel noble. You married her because you saw someone you thought was good. Someone who understood what it meant to struggle. You weren't trying to save her. You were trying to build something with her. But she was never building with you. She was building on you, and that's the difference.
If you're still
wasn't
here,
your fault,
you feel
David.
this. Like the videos, others can see what true character looks like. Sandra wiped her face. Her makeup was smeared. And then she whispered,
What about my parents now?
That's not my problem anymore.
David, please.
You had 7 years to help them. 7 years to bring them into our home. But you chose not to.
I was scared.
We're all scared. But most people don't throw their own parents away like garbage.
I'll fix it. I'll bring them here.
No.
Dad, can you help me find her parents? Get them proper care.
Already planned on it, son.
What?
I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it because they deserve better than what you gave them.
He pulled the mansion keys from his pocket and handed them to Papa John.
This house is yours now.
Papa John's hands shook as he took the keys.
Son,
You raised me in a house with a leaking roof and never once made me feel poor. You taught me that kindness costs nothing.
Papa
son,
John
is
pulled
this
his
real?
son into a hug.
Thank you.
Sandra watched from the ground, sobbing. David turned to Samuel.
You stood up for my father when my own wife kicked him like a dog.
I just did what was right, sir.
Exactly. I'm starting over. New company. Building homes for people who actually need them. I could use someone who knows what right looks like.
Sir, I don't know anything about business.
You know about people. That's more important.
Samuel took the card, tears in his eyes. David looked at Sandra one last time. She was still on her knees. Mascara ran down her face.
You can stay in the guest house for 2 weeks while you find a place. After that, you're on your own.
David!
I don't care about the money, Sandra. I don't care about the house or any of it. I care that you threw away human beings like trash. Your own parents. My father. Anyone you thought was beneath you.
He turned
What am
to
I
walk away.
supposed to do?
Sandra's voice was desperate. David stopped, didn't turn around.
Figure out who you are when no one's watching. And pray it's someone better than who you've been.
Then he walked away. Papa John followed. So did Samuel. And Sandra knelt alone on the driveway, surrounded by everything she'd fought so hard to keep, but worth nothing at all. 6 months later, the restaurant was busy on a Thursday afternoon. Sandra wiped down a table in her server's uniform, black pants, white shirt, hair pulled back.
No designer clothes, no expensive jewelry, just her, a notepad, and tips that barely covered rent. She'd tried to find office work, but word had spread. People knew who she was. So she served coffee and kept her head down. The bell above the door chimed. Sandra looked up, and her heart stopped. David walked in, but he wasn't alone. On his left was an elderly woman in a floral dress. Her hair was gray but neatly styled. She walked slowly, leaning on David's arm. On his right was an elderly man with thick glasses and a cane. Sandra's parents. They looked healthy, clean, well-fed, cared for. Papa John walked in behind them, laughing. They chose a table near the window. Sandra ducked behind the counter, trying to hide, trying to breathe. Another server approached their table. But then David looked up. His eyes met hers. For a moment, neither moved. Sandra wanted to run, to disappear, but David simply nodded at her once.
Calm, not angry, not hateful, just acknowledgement. Then he turned back to parents and kept talking. Sandra watched from across the room. Her mother laughed at something Papa John said. A real laugh.
Her father put his hand over David's and squeezed. Grateful. Warm. They didn't see her. Or maybe they did and didn't recognize her. Or maybe they chose not to.
Sandra stood frozen as the new server took their order. As they ate lunch together,
Like a real family. When they finally stood to leave, Sandra turned away. But as they passed the counter, her mother paused.
Sandra felt her mother's eyes on her. She looked up slowly. Her mother stared at her for a long moment. There was no anger in her eyes.
Just sadness. Deep, bone-tired sadness. Then her mother turned and walked out with David and Papa John. The door closed behind them.
Sandra stood alone in the restaurant, surrounded by the smell of coffee and the sounds of strangers eating lunch.
And for the first time in her life, she understood. She hadn't lost money. She hadn't lost a mansion. She'd lost the only people who would have loved her.
Even when she had nothing. And no amount of scrubbing would ever get that smell off her skin. Some people think kindness is weakness. But the truth is, how you treat people who can't do anything for you shows exactly who you are.
Poverty isn't a smell you scrub off. Cruelty is a stain that never washes out. If this story stayed with you,
send it to someone who needs to remember what really matters. Sometimes we all forget that people aren't things we can throw away.